Hey Sunshine, and welcome to the Duelist Bloom podcast, where we uncover and discover who we are through creating space to reconnect with ourselves. I'm your guide Bria, an involvement and life coach for moms. The key to you living as your authentic self is to evolve and witness. Now is the time to have courage and embrace change. Your relationship with yourself is the only true constant. Observing yourself throughout seasons of your life will allow you to always be in alignment with the desires of your heart. Before we get started, I have to remind you of your influence because you are an inspiration.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It's me, it's Bria, and I am excited to actually talk about today's, I'm excited about every episode, but this one is a good one. This is a good one. And so I'm gonna just hop right into it because life is a transaction. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but I think that everything is give and take, everything is ebb and flow, everything is push and pull. There's always two sides of the coin. You know, there's this duality to life. And if we think about life in transactions, I like to think about it as energy exchanges, like we're all doing some type of energy exchange. And I like to think about energy exchange because, you know, we give up our time. If we think about work, we give up our time in exchange for money. When we go to work, we give up our free time for the money to pay the bills. And sometimes when we choose to spend time with other people rather than taking the time to spend with ourselves, it's a trade-off. Everything is a trade-off. And so when we're thinking about these exchanges that are happening, whether you're conscious of them or not, there's always something being exchanged. There's always some sort of transaction. And so I want to start today's episode by thinking about our relationships and thinking about your friendships that you've had, maybe past relationships, and think about all the things that you gave in those relationships and what you were willing to receive. And I don't want y'all to go into a rabbit hole thinking about all your bad relationships, but if your mind is going there, that's okay. That is okay. Let's not shame or guilt ourselves. That is okay. But I want you to be aware of you got something out of it. So if you see yourself going to a place of, oh, this experience was so bad, blah, 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 that relationship, that person, but it's just like, why did you decide to stay? And I know that can be something heavy to think about if you were in an environment that wasn't very supportive, but I want you to think about what was I receiving out of it and what was I giving. And I want you to think about this in the sense of your friendships and your community and your job, and just like make a little list. Whether you have your journal with you or not, whether it's a physical or a mental list, I want you to think about what were you willing to receive and what were you willing to give in these relationships, because this is the transaction. You gave X thing, you probably received one of those things that were on your list that you were willing to receive. And I don't want you to think that this world, that everybody's out here expecting something or wanting something from you, but that is just life. And I'm really sorry to break it to you if this is the first time that you've allowed yourself to think about the world in this way, but everything is an exchange. Like, I'm so grateful to the sun for being out during the day so I could record this with natural light instead of using my ring light. Like, there's an exchange. There's an exchange and there's a transaction going on. And if this is making you uncomfortable in any way, that's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable, and you might be in your stretch zone, in your growth zone right now, but I really want you to keep following if you feel compelled to still be here. Because where I'm going with this is I want you to look at your relationship with yourself. What are you willing to give to yourself, and what are you willing to receive from yourself? And if it felt really uncomfortable for you to make the first list about your friends and your family and your community and all those things, it's just like, okay, but where are you neglecting yourself and spending time with yourself and recharging and filling your own cup? Because it's all an energy exchange. And if you're constantly saying, oh, the kids need me, or my job needs me, or I need to clean up, I need to tidy, I need to make dinner, I need to go run errands, and you never give back to yourself, because these are all the exchanges that you're doing with your kids, and the example that I was doing it with your household, with the people that you're living with. Like, yes, you're taking care of yourself, yes, you're doing these things, I see you, I'm proud of you, but also, where can you sit down and spend some time for yourself to recharge? Because you've been pouring from an empty cup long enough. And listen, I know I am not speaking from a place of this is what you need to do. This is what I was doing. This is what I was doing when I was in school, college to be exact, and I was working 2 jobs. I was a full-time student, and I gave every piece of my being to paying for tuition and working towards a degree I realized that I didn't want. But it's just like, I was giving so much. Like, I didn't even take the time. Like, if I wasn't working on a paper or commuting to one of my jobs or in a class or at my job being like, why am I here? Like, I wasn't taking the time to even fill my cup. And by the time that I did get home, I was like, I'm going to sleep. Or throwing whatever I could find into the microwave and stress eating. Like, these are the things when it's just like, what am I willing to give to myself? Like, I worked 7 days a week. When I was in school with 2 jobs, paying tuition, I worked 7 days a week. Where was Bria time? Where was Bria time? Like I started this episode by saying, I gave up my free time in exchange for money. And so as coming out of that experience, I'm like, I really just want people to be intentional about where they're giving their time and their resources, because I think time is the most valuable resource in this. Like, you don't know how much time you have. Like, there's this unspoken clock that is ticking, and like, you don't know how much time is left on the clock, you know? And so it's just like, what do you want to do? And how can you give some of that time back to yourself so you feel rejuvenated to do the things that you get to do in life? And so when you look at this list, I really want you to ask yourself, is what I've been giving to myself more or less? Have I been giving myself more or less than what I'm giving to my friends, my family, my community, my child, my job? Is it more or less? Is what I'm giving to myself more or less? Is what I'm receiving from myself more or less? Because we got to be our own hype man. If we're not advocating for ourselves, who will? It's not a problem until somebody says it's a problem. But if you're not even aware of the problem, and I'm putting air quotes around problem because, like, it doesn't have to be a problem, but it's like, if there's a situation, if there's a need, if you need help, if you need support, like, you can fill the word problem in with those blanks as well. But it's just like, if I don't even know I need support, if I don't even know I need help, if I don't even know that there is a need for XYZ, how am I gonna bridge that gap? So it's just like holding space for, what are you willing to give? Not only to others, but to yourself. And sometimes saying no is what needs to be said, and giving yourself permission to be like, you ain't doing nothing this weekend. You're going to fully recharge, and you're not going out. You're just going to spend time with yourself where you can, right here, right now. And so I didn't want to come at y'all like this today, but I'm excited that I did because it's important. And so as I'm closing out today's episode, I would like you to use the next 3 minutes for you to think about, is there any shift that I feel compelled to make in this season? Where do I want to give myself more? How can I be aware of these transactions that are happening in life? And do I like how I'm spending my time? Do I like the way that I'm spending my money? And money as in these exchanges that we're talking about, but even to money, currency. But just want to give you some time to think about that, because you have choice to create the decisions that you have choice to create the experiences that you want to create for yourself. Life doesn't have to happen to you. You get to take the steering wheel and drive where you want to go. So yes, the next 3 minutes are for you. And if you want to talk, because a lot of things came up for you during today's episode, let me know. I will leave a link to chat. This won't be a sales call. It's just a chat for us to have together. So if you want to chat about some of the things that came up for you, I will leave that link below for you to book a session with me, okay? Free session, okay? Just a chat. But yes, the next 3 minutes are for you, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I love y'all, and you're doing great. You're doing great, okay? You're doing great. Don't shame yourself for not having the awareness that you have right now. It's just all about growth and expansion. Be kind to yourself. Okay, bye. If anything resonated with you during this episode, pass it along to a friend. Let's continue the chain reaction of inspiration. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can stay updated with all things Duelist Bloom by joining the Village community email list. The link is in the description below. I hope that today is everything you needed to be and more, and remember, you are an inspiration.